Welcome to I Live. I'm Sherry Stewart.
And I'm Lisa Black.
And we are going to have a great time today. We have a power-packed show, but first we're going to get to my favorite part of the show, one of my favorite parts of the show, and that's my jokes.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Okay, here you go. Okay, why did the boy bring a ladder to school?
Why did the boy bring a ladder to school? I don't know.
Time is up because he wanted to go to high school. Isn't that funny? It's so funny we can't stand it, right? But we're not going to prolong that part of the show. We're going to tell you what's going to be happening today. So we have two wonderful guests today. We have Susan Goodson. She is the author of Letting Go of Shame, A Mother's Journey Raising Addict Children. So this is a powerful book that I cannot put down.
Yeah.
It's just, and I'm so excited that she's going to be here to share the writing of the book, her whole testimony. And we also want to introduce you to one of our new team members, a new member of our family today.
Yeah, she is a correspondent
Yes.
of the I Live staff, so she will be on today.
So we're excited to introduce to you Ebony. We'll be talking with her in just a few minutes as well. But before we get to all of that, we want to welcome Susan to the show. So let's welcome Susan, everybody.
Hello. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hello, my friend. How are you?
Good.
You are amazing.
Thank
You're
you.
Amazing. I love this book. And I was telling a couple people when I first met you several years ago at one of the Chamber of Commerce meetings. My first impression of you was the Mary Kay lady. She's got the pink on, right?
Right.
Hair, everything together.
Gorgeous.
Got it
Just
going.
gorgeous. Got it rocking, right? And so when you were talking about your book in the meeting, I was like, oh, she's writing a book. People write books, but I had no idea your exterior persona. I had no idea. I would have never in a million years believed that this was the Susan Goodson that I met. So tell me about this.
Oh, well, I come from a pretty business. I'm in Mary Kay. I've been in Mary Kay for 36
Y'all all look
years.
good all the time.
And so it was really hard for me to put out there that I had children that were addicts because I was afraid that if you knew that side of my life, you wouldn't do business with me. And I was the sole provider of my family. So I needed the business. What I've learned along the way is that there really is no shame in loving a child, a husband, a parent who suffers from the disease of addiction. And I didn't want to keep secrets anymore.
Okay.
I think everybody's tired of keeping secrets.
That's good.
I put up a happy face because that's what I learned to do. Everything's great. But everything wasn't great. And I don't think women can relate to people whose life is always great. I think we hunger for truth. Tell me your truth. I don't necessarily want to know your drama, but I want to know your hope.
Okay.
And so
That's right.
I met a young woman who was an editor at a networking event. And she said, oh, you've met me, and you know why? And I said, no. And she said, because I'm an editor and you have a book to write. And I went, no, I don't. I'm building a Mary Kay empire. I am not writing a book. And every time she would see me, she would smile and say, so how's the book? I said, I'm not writing a book. I don't want to write a book. I don't know how to write a book. But that planted the seed. And so I got a call on Mother's Day one year. All of my kids had moved north. They had all left. I got them all through their drug addiction years.
Now you have how many kids again?
Two
Three
boys and a
kids.
girl.
Okay.
And they all went to live near their dad. And their dad was gone when they were very, very little. And I knew that that's what they needed to do, and I encouraged them to do that. They only have one dad. Go find him. Go know him. But they were all up there with his wife, and they were celebrating Mother's Day. And my daughter called, and she said, Mom, it's Mother's Day, and we're all here.
Oh my goodness.
Everybody was there but me, and I was the mother. So I went into the shower, and I had a good cry, and I thought, I'm going to write a book. It's going to be called A Mother's Cry. And so when I talked to this young woman, she said, I had originally told her I was going to write another book, and it didn't have a very good title. It didn't have a nice title, but it was what happens when you deal with addict children. When it hits the fan, Anyway,
Okay.
so she said it's the same book. And so I said, it's my journey about raising my children. And she said, yeah, it's your journey about what it feels like to love an addict child, what it feels like to let go, what it feels like to redefine the concept of love. And so I worked with her for a while, and then I was led to another editor, and this other editor made me go deep. She said, I want you to remember. And I said, I don't want to remember. And she said, you need to remember. Because that's the difference between a good book and a great book. I want to know the feelings behind the facts. So there was a part in here when my 5-year-old got hit by a car, and she said, I want to know what it felt like to go down and see, that was my oldest. I want to know what it felt like to go see him there laying in the street. And so I had to go, and I had to dig those memories back up. Same with, when the kids were actively using. What did it feel like? And I got angry with her one day, and I said, you want to know what it feels like? I said, it feels like my heart bleeds out with every breath. She said, that's what you need to tell the other mothers. Don't just say, it's hard. Talk about how hard it is. And so it took a couple of years, and I asked my kids' permission.
Yeah.
Okay.
I asked my ex-husband. He said he was being supportive. And the kids said, are you going to use our real names? And I said, yes, I am. And they went, oh, okay. And then they all came on board, and they said, Mom, the truth is the truth. So put it out there. And if it can help somebody, let it help them.
So during your journey of all of this, you are a success. You are a businesswoman. You are a mother. You speak. You motivate. You write. You do so many things. What has been your strength? What has been your anchor to get through all of this?
Oh, I always go back to the place that God knows what He's doing. Anytime I question, why, God says to me, you're not going to know why. I know why. But you can trust me. And so anytime that I was in this process, anytime I was letting go, anytime I was fearful, I would always go to the place of God whispering in my ear, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. So just walk with me. So I really held on to my faith. I've had some people read the book who said, you're very religious.
Yeah, you are, because I wanted to read this. This made me chuckle. This is early in the book. This is just on page 3, and it says you were talking about your marriage, right? And so you already knew you were in a train wreck already.
Yes.
And I love that you says, I will bring him to God. I will fix this troubled soul. When I read that, I could just see you standing in the rain and this dramatic, I will bring him to God. I will fix him. And I'm like, but many women can probably relate to that. But you went forward anyway.
Oh, yes. It was my job. He had no friends. It never dawned on me the reason why he had no friends. I thought he has no friends, therefore I have to be his friend. Well, it didn't really work. We are friends now after 30 years of very hard work. But, I realized that we were both sick. They say that the holes in his head matched the rocks in mine.
Wow.
If I had, if there was any sense of wisdom in me back when I first married him, I would not have been attracted to him. But I'm the daughter of an alcoholic. And when you come from the childhood of an alcoholic, you're drawn to that even though you don't know it. Even though you promise yourself, I will never marry anybody like my dad. It's what I knew. It was in my DNA.
But we tend to have a tendency to want to fix someone else before trying to fix ourselves.
Absolutely. It's easier. Not really, but it feels easier. Oh, I can tell you everything you need to do to help yourself. But I can't do it myself.
Someone that may be struggling with addiction or struggling with children with addiction or has a familiar story, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to reach out to somebody else that already has the problem. They're not alone. That's what happens. We think we're alone. We don't want to tell anybody. I got involved in 12-step programs because I needed to have my tribe with me. They are my tribe. They are my people. And they've walked the road ahead of me. They know where they're going. They've been there. So they helped me understand. And then the other thing that I learned that was extremely important was to stop the money flow. See, I thought that giving my children money, getting them an apartment, making sure they had a job, taking them to school was helping them. And
Okay.
it was harming them.
Okay. Now, where can we get a copy of the book?
Well, I do have a website, www.susangoodson.com, and that shows some of my quotes, some of my blogs, and it's also on Amazon. So you can go to Amazon and get it as well.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by, being
You
a
are
guest.
so welcome.
Thank you. You're a family, not a guest.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
and thank you for this
Thank
opportunity.
you for your bravery, for sharing and being so transparent. I really appreciate it, Susan.
I appreciate being here. Thank you so much.
So we want to thank Susan Goodson again for stopping by and sharing that testimony, just being so transparent.
Yeah, it's an amazing story.
Just transformation, transforming from the shame to essentially a new creature. You know, you do become new when you remove the mask and
That's right.
you allow people into your pain so that you can help somebody else. So I just applaud her for coming on. But we also want to welcome a member of our family now, Miss Ebony,
Hello, everybody.
right? And you have transformed as well, and you have a powerful testimony to share with young women. So, and we know that again, Ebony has joined our team. She's actually our correspondent, so she will be out and about covering some great events for us throughout Southern California. So we look to hear more and see more of what you're doing. But right now, we want to get into your story.
Yes, you talk about transformation a lot, and you have reached a point where you felt like a change was needed, or you wanted a change. Tell us about that.
It started with my weight loss journey. So I have lost 138 pounds now. I was coming down from 311.
Wow.
And I knew at that point I needed to change. It started with health.
Okay.
And then image too. I was young. I'm 26 years old. I did that
Beautiful.
when I was
Beautiful, yes.
23, I believe. And it started with health. I was pre-diabetic, and that was scary. So I decided to go ahead and have the gastric sleeve surgery back in 2012. And I was, I thought that's what I needed to be happy. So I lost all this weight, and the transformation started when I realized that it wasn't my physical image that was going to make me happy, and that it was more internally.
Oh my goodness. I love that you say you started working on the cover before writing the book.
Right. So
I love that. That
Yeah.
sounds like a title of a book.
It does. It really does. Or a
Yes.
movie or something.
I'll work on that. I did definitely start on the cover first. I spent, I believe, maybe 2 years just trying to focus on how I looked. I didn't know my true worth at that time when I decided to do that. I thought that it was a physical appearance. I thought I was going to get everything that I wanted based off of, I just needed to be smaller. I needed to be, look healthier and things like that. And I realized that once I lost all this weight and I feel, great, I could shop everywhere, but God had other plans for me, and He basically reintroduced Himself into my life.
Oh, wow.
And that's where my transformation internally started, I would say 18 months ago.
Wow.
I love that. And as you say, we know the scripture in Psalm that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, right?
Yes.
So how do you maneuver all of the, and I love social media, I always put that caveat out there, but there's so much of it now. There's so many images, and the bar seems to be raised higher and higher for women of all ages, races, cultures, everything. So how do you maneuver that and keep yourself sane? How do you say, enemy, you're not going to mess me up with that. I don't have to be this size. I don't have to look like this to be desirable. So how do you maneuver that?
I definitely have to just delete the Instagram.
Delete.
So it's hard. It's really hard, but sometimes I have to just literally just take the app off of my phone and just focus. So it's fun because it's social.
Right.
You keep up with your
Right.
friends, you keep up with your family, but sometimes it does become overwhelming if I catch myself. Sometimes you literally naturally will go into, oh my gosh, her body's amazing. Oh my gosh, these models, and it's just constant, and it does become overwhelming, and it still does affect me. But the good thing is that with prayer, and me realizing that I am fearfully and wonderfully made, I can easily now just understand that I'm being distracted,
Sure.
and that is the enemy,
Right.
and I just delete it, and when I'm ready for it, now I can actually, it starts in increments where you have to delete it and you'll go back, but now I can go back and be like, okay, the same stuff, let me focus on being productive.
Good for you.
So I have often heard women who have had the surgery, when they look in the mirror, they see the same image. Did that change for you?
It still is a struggle, because when you lose so much weight, and I'm young, but I do have excess skin. So that is the biggest thing. It's not necessarily that I still see myself obese. I do see myself, what happens is the skin kind of masks the actual work that I have done physically on my body, and so I do still, it still is uncomfortable for me at times, but I'm definitely working on that through the Lord, and I've been becoming more comfortable with myself. So
Okay. It's still a struggle,
it
or it's still a
is.
journey.
Yeah, because
Okay.
when you think about maybe wanting to go to the beach in clothes, you look great. But it's just if I want to feel completely comfortable, even if I'm thinking the beach or, just feeling uncomfortable, it hangs. I'm working on that still.
Okay.
What would you have to say to young women that are maybe struggling with self-image or self-worth? If you had to preach them a sermon real quick, you had to give them a sermonette, what would you say?
I would say that you're beautiful and that God loves you, and that you can't compare yourself to anyone, and that through God, if you develop a relationship with Him, if you maintain a relationship with Him, then He's going to give you every single, it's really comfort and joy and love. I feel the most beautiful after talking to my Father God.
Oh.
And it's a process, and you don't have to try to be perfect, but once you develop a relationship with God, really,
Yes.
I feel beautiful inside.
Yes.
And
Oh,
so
I love that.
because He's given me the heart, and just caring for others, I feel that that's the most beautiful thing that I could possibly be. And so that's my joy, truly, at this point.
So how do you feel now? How do you feel now, today?
I feel good. I feel excited because God has given me so many promises. I feel excited because compared to a year ago, my relationship with God has grown so much. And so it's really exciting for me to even know that it's going to get even more intense and closer than what it is. Like, my goal is, and He's drawing me closer and closer. And so that really just feels good in my heart to be loved in that way.
That's right.
So that love from Him, I am just becoming more whole as a woman. And that's exciting because I know that through Him I can do all things.
That's right.
Amen. Well, thank you, Miss Ebony, and you are indeed beautiful.
Thank you.
From the inside out, and that's where it starts. So, again, welcome to the family.
Thank you.
Welcome to the I Live team, and we look forward to, we know we'll see you again.
Yes.
Covering
We want to
some
see
things for
her
us. Yeah.
more out in the field.
Yeah. So we just thank you for sharing today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for watching I Live Today.
Wow, what an awesome show today.
Yes.
Two phenomenal women, Susan Goodson and our own family member, if you will, Ebony Bunton,
Yes.
telling her story. It was amazing.
Yeah, and so we just want to thank you for watching I Live, but we want to encourage you to do a couple things. Number one, if you have a prayer request, visit our website. That's ilivetalk.com. If you have a question, comment, or a story idea, and you'd like to appear on our show, again, we'd love to hear from you. That's ilivetalk.com, our website. We're on social media too, so we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and follow us on Twitter. So we want to connect with you, stay connected with you, but most of all, we just want to hear from you. So again, we thank you for watching today.
Thank you for watching.